Hey, experts listeners. I want to key you into something that we do very special here at Ops Experts Club, and that's a masterclass. We have a free masterclass called Foundations That Scale. And the great thing about this masterclass is it's for operation professionals who are growing businesses. One of the most dangerous things you can do as an operator is grow businesses on a foundations that's not stable. So in this particular masterclass, we take apart all of the inside pieces of your team, your tech, and how they're using time. And we make sure that you're building on a foundation that's stable. So if you want to check out a great masterclass completely for free, go to foundationsthatscale.com. We'll see you there.
Welcome to the Ops Experts Club with Aaron, Terryn, and Savannah. This podcast will take you behind the scenes of some of the finer details of multi-million-dollar companies. These ops experts have dealt with operations for scaling companies and well-established businesses with anywhere from small to large teams. If you've ever been deep into the details of a major company, then you know how much it takes, and these conversations are just for you. Welcome to the Ops Experts Club podcast.
Oh man, great to see you today on this fine day. Ops Experts Club experts. Welcome, Terryn Turner. Welcome. Excellent to see you.
Aaron, it's a pleasure being here. We've got about 2 minutes for idle chit chat scheduled today. So,
oh man, we got to cut it down because people hear 2 minutes idle chit chat. They're like, I'm moving on to the next podcast. I don't want to hear idle. So let's just shrink that sucker down. I'm doing really well. Had a little bit of a conundrum last week of a lot of coming and going. Was on both coasts last week in a span of like 2.5 days, which felt crazy. And so I don't know how many of you guys live like that, where you come back from a week like that, and that's the week I'm coming into is, okay, so that was the conundrum. Has come back into a peaceful week. Terryn, it sounded like you might be dying a day of death by meetings. Is that the case for today? Back to back meetings?
yes, it's been a meeting day for sure. It was a meeting week last week for sure as well. And I've got about 20 tabs open right now from just meetings.
Yeah, so we thought today would be a great thing for us to walk through team. Those of you who are here consuming the podcast this week, we're honored that you would join us. And our whole goal is to bring you best tips on operational success for your business. And we thought today would be a good time to talk about how do we not die a death by meetings. I think a lot of us who are in a lot of meetings can feel like you're in the back to back, barely have a minute to go run out, use the restroom, get back to the next call. All of us, I think, have done that where it's like, oh, look, I'm getting off this call, 3 minutes extra. Awesome. I'm going to run for a cup of coffee, hit the restroom. That's me, like run, get a cup of coffee, throw in the microwave, hit the restroom while I'm there, grab it, run back up the stairs, get back to my desk so that nobody know I made it. But that can be overwhelming, especially when it starts turning into back to back. And I know for us, the CoLab team, we're carrying really deep with clients right now. You know, I think we're at like 35 clients, and Terryn, you're orchestrating a ton of those. And I think it's really easy to, if we're not careful, just back to back, and then begin to feel meeting fatigue, which is really real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can read a lot of meetings, and the goal of a meeting too is to come away with deliverables. If you're not coming with deliverables, the meeting is kind of wasted. I mean, you could have meetings where you're kind of theorizing or
ideating,
pontificating, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, a lot of that happens in all of them, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yes. The goal is to obviously be moving forward after the meeting too. And so if you're in too many meetings, that can also mean too many deliverables you are behind on.
Yeah, I think that there's some real strategy around it. And what I would like to talk to today about is like what constitutes needing to have a meeting, what should be accomplished within a meeting, and then what we found are the tricks and tips of how to navigate through maybe trying not to let everything turn into a meeting, because we all know what it's like. We all have that person in our life. For us, it's clients. For you, maybe who are running operations for businesses, where you have people on your team where you're just like, they're always going to ask for time. They're always going to ask for a meeting. Hey, let's do a meeting around that. Hey, let's have a meeting around that. Let's do a working session around that. And then what you find with those people a lot of times is it's just an opportunity for them to brain dump, right? They just want somebody they can talk at. They're a verbal processor. But for any of you who are carrying a lot of load, like time is your tightest commodity for all of us, really, right? Like time is our tightest commodity of how much we have in any given day. None of us get more than anyone else. It's about how we're using it. So I think getting really clear on what constitutes a meeting, what should we be getting out of meetings, and how can we cut down the number of meetings we have so we can get more stuff done. I'd love to cover that today on our Ops Experts Club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I would love to contribute to you covering that today on Ops Experts Club.
Well, what I would hope for you is that you'd be able to escape death by meetings this upcoming week by more and more of what we uncover here today. So I'd say first things first, I'm the realist. But for second thing, is that we would be really mindful of, as you come into meetings, who takes away the deliverables. Terryn, within the CoLab team, we travel in twos, right? Any of our retainer clients have two people assigned to those particular workloads that come out of that. And for us, the CoLab team, there's a strategist on the call, and then there's somebody that's more tactical. Somebody that's working in strategy, somebody that's working the tactical. And what I mean by tactical is the one that I'm hoping is going to walk away with the to-dos, with the deliverables. And so for you, you're at the top of the food chain for CoLab team. You've been with me a decade. We've been doing this a long time together. Your brain, for me personally, is built around how many accounts can I get Terryn in the middle of, where you're going to be able to knock down a retainer, right? Because for CoLab team, you're going to get a kicker out of every retainer that you're in on top of your hours that you're billing to the account. So how can I keep Terryn at the top level, happy with what his pay is because he's going to get a kicker plus hours, but where I don't burn him out because every deliverable also lands on Terryn? There's no way that you could do both. Terryn can't be a strategist and a tactician. Terryn is, from my perspective, the guy that's driving the call, leading the call, knocking down work so that the person that there is his secondary on the account can help with the lift. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. It's always good to be thinking what work is not needed from me. Where it's spin it a different way. What work can other people I know do? Either way you look at it, you really try to pare down what it is you're doing and what it is that you're leading others to do. So that's always a helpful way to look at your list after a meeting. And then outside of that, trying to walk through, with a lot of the entrepreneurs, a lot of the visionaries, a lot of people like that. So our goal is to make sure they don't have a bunch of deliverables. So
Right.
It's really hard combo to mix with because we're also trying to take less from them and put it on us. And so then at the same time, I'm trying to take less from me and put it on others. So it's like a triple layer burrito there going on in a meeting.
Who doesn't love a triple layer burrito? I'm saying, if you could get a triple layer burrito every day, you're going to be fat, but it's going to be amazing. It's going to taste good. I will say this, as you're looking at this, I think what Terryn just lined out is really, really good. And what he lined out there for us was, what's the role of every individual in the meeting? For a visionary, somebody that's a entrepreneur, the front end of the spear, their whole goal is ideation, right? They're trying to come up with a new concept, new product line, trying new things, relationship. They're trying to build all those pieces. They're not going to do really well if they try and take on a bunch of deliverables. We just know that. That's not the way they're wired. They're wired for ideas. And from there, that we would help them navigate those ideas about which ones are the best ones for us to put attention at to get the best bang for the buck. But even in that, so entrepreneur's role, visionary, is to come with ideation. Strategist's role is to begin to be like the throttle and the brake, right? On what kinds of those things are doable, right? That's the visionary integrator, which we at the CoLab team perform a lot of fractional integration. We're the ones that are helping people with operations, right? So then from there, it's how can I task that down? And for EOS, and I think that they do it great when it comes to delegate, elevate, the whole goal of a delegate, elevate exercise is how do we elevate up whoever it is that we're trying to get the best bang of the buck from, realizing as we delegate down, we're creating opportunities for other people on the team. There's a bunch of people in the CoLab team looking for hours. There's a bunch of people on the CoLab team or on your ops team that are looking for ways that they can ascend. And the best way that I can help Terryn is, Terryn, how do we ascend you to strategist, task down for tacticians that are going to be able to get in there and tactically get the stuff done because they're looking for opportunities to knock down hours and to ascend within the organization.
And at the same time, you might have salary hourly. So it's not necessarily that they're looking for more work to fill their time because they don't need to think of it in terms of hours. But what they are looking for is things to complete that makes them feel good, which we talked about maybe a couple episodes ago, is things in the wheelhouse that they can do, they do well at, that makes them feel good about their job once completed. And that makes you feel good about them, and everybody wins at that point.
I think too, can help you with KPIs. Like when it comes to how am I rating this person on their quarterly eval? We call them 555s. It's EOS's system on how to evaluate somebody. As I hand things down, how are they doing with things that are being handed down to them, right? Because that's going to be their opportunity to ascend as well. It's the people that are really showing up well with things that are handed down to them that are going to be able to ascend up. I know for us, the CoLab team, what enables us to take on more and more clients is as we ascend our bottom layer or our middle layer up into an upper layer, that gives us opportunity to take on more clients and grow the bottom and the middle layer, that it's always going to be an ascension path for the sake of us being able to grow in depth. And so I think that coming into it with that mindset of, because if you're not careful, it's a lot about it is reframing, and this isn't like us trying to gaslight people or to like spin it. It really is a framing of what are we trying to accomplish and who's the best for which jobs. If I want Terryn to have a brain free enough to be able to strategize, I can't bury him under a workload that's too much. And we also need to throttle down on what's realistic for Terryn. How many accounts is it realistic for Terryn to be on before his brain is just smush? Like he's in the middle of too much. Like his brain is being stretched too many different ways. And then just really getting a good threshold on what's our expectation? What are the KPIs we're putting on those expectations? And then how are we getting a good pulse on them? Which is another reason I love the 555 is it's very conversational. What's working, what's not working. Giving Terryn an opportunity to speak to, hey, I've just been on a lot of meetings. I think we need to really reconsider maybe my meeting load, or is there something else we can do around, could some other people be taking on some of these meetings that I'm in the middle of that could then shake down the fine granules of truth and bring those back to the once a week meeting level 10, where then we can talk through those and solve for them that way.
Yep. And that's all great things to do after the meeting. And I think next up, it's about, from the beginning of the conversation, how do we avoid the meeting altogether? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that, what this part of the show I'm going to give you is just some examples of how CoLab team manages expectations on meetings, what constitutes a meetings. And maybe this is just food for thought. Maybe this isn't your exact business application, but my hope would be, like, I got to go on a retreat last week with some of the guys that I mastermind with from Pete Vargas's Wellspring. And as we were there, it was a group of 7 or 8 guys, and we just shared different things that we're in the middle of. And as people shared the things they're in the middle of, it began to expand my brain on ways I could think about how I'm doing things. So my hope for you is that we kind of mastermind here a little bit together. I could share some of what we do, and that your take home would be, as listeners, how can I rethink through maybe the ways that I've always assumed it has to be? Because it probably doesn't have to be that way. That's just the way that you've gotten into the rhythm of doing it. So does that sound good, Terrence? Does that sound like an amazing way to go next?
Yep.
Good. I love being told I'm amazing. So I would say one of the best ways that I found is creating a closed loop on updates, which means I don't have to be on every call. I don't have to be in the middle of every single project. Every week at the CoLab team, we have a Asana task that is due on every account, and that's, hey, give me your weekly update. Tell me what you put your time on this week and how you're feeling on the account. And as they do, then Terryn, you're able to read through those. And the way you do it is you'll do a Loom and you'll walk through everybody's update for the week. And that'll be your update that you roll out to the client. And that way you just knock down 2 different meetings. You don't need to meet with everybody on the team and see what the update is on what they're working at. And you don't need to meet with the client to give them an update. You can condense it down and do a 2-minute Loom. And then we scratch the itch of anybody that's wondering where we're at on the account. I feel like it's worked really well for us over the last set of years.
Yeah. Yep. And another great idea is the reason people meet is because they want to process verbally or show you something. And 2 ways we get around that is Voxer or any sort of voice recording. You can do it in Slack. If you use a Slack, you can record right there too. Great way to just verbalize something without having a meeting, because it's sometimes easier than just writing things out. You just want to go and verbalize it. And so we will get a lot of downloads verbally from our clients, as well as we'll pass things to each other verbally. That really saves a lot of time. And the other thing is, when you want to show somebody something, do a screen recording. You don't always have to meet to show somebody something anymore these days. So those 2 methods right there really cut back on meeting times with each other, with visionaries, with clients, anybody.
Yeah. I mean, Terryn mentioned Voxer. Like, I think that you find the medium that works for you. Voxer is what we use a lot of, but like you said, there's a lot of people that use by text audio message recording. WhatsApp has a spot where you can do audio recording. Slack has an opportunity for audio recording. And I've even gotten into a place where if I don't want to just riddle my people at all different times of the day and night and weekends, what I've started doing is, and I mean, this is just something I've been trying lately, and Terryn, maybe you can give me some feedback on how it's working, because you've been somebody that's been receiving them, is on Voxer, on any of these channels, you can actually give yourself a voice memo where you want to talk something out and you just want to process through something. And then as you do, to think about, could that be something I could turn and take to team? And if so, you can actually share a Vox out where I'll actually create a share link and drop it into a project task inside of Asana as I assign something out for team to consider. And then I can collect their feedback in a real centralized way, rather than just lighten up a channel on a Sunday morning because I've got downtime on a Saturday because I'm out taking a walk And then my team is having to consume Voxes on a Saturday, which is not what I want my team to be doing. I want them to get weekends downtime. That's how I want it to go. So if I create a Vox while I'm thinking about it, drop it into a project task and ask them to give me back some feedback by Wednesday, then I can manage based upon our task management software rather than them remembering that I sent them a Vox on Saturday. Because a lot of times they'll be like, hey, don't listen to this today, save this for Monday. But if they've already got that deep into it, most people aren't going to stop. Or if they do, they're going to forget it by Monday. So how can I put it somewhere where it's like, this is important enough for me to put a deadline on it, and I want to hear some feedback on it. Give me some thoughts on this topic. Or if it's around a project, hey, I was thinking about that project. What about this? And what if we try it this way? What about, and then tie that into a comment in Asana where there's an opportunity on platforms that maybe don't have an opportunity where you can verbally leave something, but you can attach it back to somewhere where, like that I love about Vox, is I can speed it up to 3 and 4 times the speed and batch through a 2-minute message in like 25 seconds because I've just got it sped up.
Yeah, I would say, number one, it's been a great rollout recently because yes, you do. Some days when you're going for your walks, start shooting out Voxes to people and you don't want us to read it to listen to it then. But curiosity, come on, I want to know what you're talking about. And then I do forget about it by Monday because it's no longer a notification. So it's been an absolute wonderful rollout. Number two, something that's going to be hard to implement with a visionary, I feel like, unless they have like a personal assistant or somebody that can execute for them, because they're just going to send it there and not even think about it. Not in a bad way. It's not that they don't care, but that's just, they execute. That's what they do. They just execute.
So I spoke at an event this last week and I talked about the 3 breakdowns that I normally see in most businesses is communication, connection, and accountability. Those are the 3 things that I would say historically across CoLab's team over a decade of working with high-level entrepreneurs and 7, 8-figure businesses is those 3 areas. And you're exactly right, Terryn, because people are just get into communication mode and they just start blowing people up. And what I talked to him about was, hey, honor the chain of command. Like, so I would say this is, if you're a visionary listening, I would say you can abuse your EA that way. I mean, your executive assistant, you know what I mean? And I use abuse like gently. As an EA, as an executive assistant, you've kind of signed on to this guy's going to be lighting you up or this gal's going to be lighting you up day or night, weekday or weekend. Like that's just kind of an executive assistant role for a lot of people. That's not necessarily your whole team's role. So I would say, visionary, if you're listening, that's fine. Send all messages to your EA to be disseminated out accordingly. You know what I mean? But don't like just go start lighting up your entire team. You've got ideas for the marketing team, you've got ideas for the ops team, you've got ideas for the tech team, you've got ideas for whatever it is. Like push it to your EA and say, hey, I need you to get this to Steven this week. I need you to get this to don't send it today and find the medium that's the best place. Hey, I'm not going to try and figure out what the medium is. I'm not in Asana ever. Most visionaries aren't. I'm not in Monday or whatever the project management tool is. Will you do me a favor? I don't want to create chaos with this. Will you drop this in and will you just ask for a feedback to be brought back to me by X and then just honor the chain of command? Or I would say, I told the folks I was speaking to this last week, the 2 meetings I think that every visionary should be on is your visionary integrator meeting, where the visionary comes to the main person leading your ops. And that's where you drop all requests. Like don't go full on sidelining everybody and their mom because you think you're going to get an answer faster if you go straight to the source. Because then what it leads to is whoever's the head of your operations that's trying to help you manage projects forward realizes there's a bunch of projects that you've been tasking other people to that they had no purview to. And then you're going to get frustrated because things aren't happening at the right pace. They're going to be getting frustrated because they don't even know the full scope of everything that's out on the field. So like honor the chain of command. And I would say if you've got an ops person, Dan Martell has a great chapter on this in his book, Buying Back Your Time. But what he talked about was he would make notes to himself preparing for a one-on-one later that week. And then he would review those notes before his one-on-one that he comes into it. And he'd be like, no, I don't need to talk about that. No, I don't need to talk about that. Like not everything is urgent. Not everything has to be happening right now. I know you don't want to forget it. Drop it someplace where you're going to remember it and then come into your meeting with that as your agenda. I just think you're going to get more stuff done when you attend it. So that's the number 1 meeting. And the number 2 meeting is L10s. Terryn, you want to talk maybe, I think some people may not even have an awareness around what a level 10 is and why we advocate for those of it. If you're going to do a meeting, do it with structure, man. Nobody wants to come in and just get pontificated at. So you want to talk about that a little bit? Pontification.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, if you're in a healthy place, then yeah, you've got L10 meetings starting with number 1, your leadership L10 meeting. And sometimes that's the only L10 meeting you have because that's the only team you have. You only have 4 to 5 people. They're the all leadership team. They've been with you since you started. You trust their recommendations, anything that they do. And so that's your core leadership team, or maybe you've got 20 people deep, and each one of those leaders then has their own department meeting after that with their own team. But either way, you're going to want to be with your leadership team, and you're not leading this meeting. Somebody else is leading this meeting. You're
That's
there.
key. Say that again, Terryn, because that is key.
Do not lead this meeting. Okay. You're there in the circle, the round table with everybody else. Right. You're there. You can have a special call out, like if you want to give any updates, quick updates, but you're all working from the general vision doc, the quarterly doc for the company moving forward. And the key role there is that you trust the people you've put in place, the leadership team, to come back to you with recommendations. And you just might need to give final sign off on anything. Outside of that, it's questions, maybe clarity, and anything else. But you're not there, to present new ideas too much. Obviously, you're visionary, so it's going to happen. But we're there to get through roadblocks together and avoid having individual meetings with you. So bulk things together and come at you with our recommended solutions. Hopefully, if they're healthy owners of their roles, then they would come to you not just with problems, but with solutions.
I know a lot of leaders can avoid a weekly meeting that they're not just going to be there to preach at. You know what I mean? A lot of guys love to show up, or gals love to show up, and they're jazzed up. They fall in saving it all weekend, man. They want it first thing Monday morning so they can just get out there and just unload on the people, right? And the danger of that is a lot of times you spend too much time preaching, you spend too much time pontificating, and then there's not enough time for the team to ask strategic questions or to bring you back feedback on things that they've had that last week were super important to you. So I would really highly encourage you to do a visionary integrator meeting early in the week, and then do your L10 meeting sometime midweek. And I know that may feel very unnatural for you, but meet with the person that's going to be disseminating out all the things that were in your brain first, and probably they're more calibrated to take you. Let's just be honest. You're a lot. If you're a visionary, you're coming at them full fire hose, and you need somebody that's calibrated that can run with you, that can take those things, and then they can determine as they disseminate that out, that needs to be brought to the level 10 meeting to be able to triage that as a team. And then from there, the next time they meet with you next week on the same day, on a Monday or early in the week, they can come back to you with updates on all the things that you had questions about this week, and just honor the cadence, honor the rhythms, give them some place to process it out. Because Terryn, I think you and I were talking about this last time we were at a Ops Experts Club. A lot of times visionaries, we can be unrealistic with expected deadlines. We can just have gotten the idea out, and by the end of a call, if I had a nickel for every time this has happened, by the end of a call, we're like, okay, so you guys got that? And Terryn, you've asked the clarifying question of, are you asking me if I did that because you just told me about that? So know that that's not done yet. Just to be clear, I'm not badly just working behind the scenes while you're talking to get something finished by the time this hour-long meeting's over. You need to be realistic with their expectations and honor the cadence, honor the chain of command, honor the way that you communicate.
So Aaron, how would you bullet point this conversation to some actionable steps for our listeners?
Yeah, I would say action items look like this. If you're a visionary listening, think about how you're communicating. Honor the chain of command. Honor the fact that you want to give your people downtime. Otherwise, they're going to burn out and you're going to continue to lose people. So create a cadence that you're honoring. I think that's really important. If you're on the ops side of things, be thinking to yourself about who should be doing what in this business. And do I need to be on all these calls? And if I am on all these calls, should I be taking away all the deliverables personally, or should I be disseminating those down? Because I think there's a real mistake that as an operator, you need to be doing a ton instead of, if you're a strategist, you should probably be doing little and orchestrating, puppeteering everything else underneath you. And then ask yourself, is there some sort of, so that's visionary and that's operator or integrator, as EOS language would say. And then for all of us to be thinking about, are there automation steps that we can put into place that don't require meetings? Could there be a spot where you're asking for an upgrade that then as you give that update to somebody, it could be recorded by Vox or voice memo, recorded by video, so that you're able to give people updates without anybody having to spend any more time in meetings? Because the bottom line is nobody wants to die a death by meetings, period. We want to be able to strategically get in, get out, understand what the workload is, and manage projects forward. And I've just found if you'll honor the system, that's when accountability comes. Everybody makes such a big deal out about accountability. I think if you just honor the system and use it the way it's intended, to use an L10 structure, it's pre-baked into the system. You're going to get accountability. Just stick to the system. When you're going to not get accountability is when you don't stick to the system, and then it can lead to confusion.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
Well said, Aaron.
Did I land the plane? Did I do good?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, ops experts, thanks for showing up. We appreciate time with you again this week. Terryn Turner, always an honor and a privilege to get any time with you. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next week here on Ops Experts Club.
Thank you for tuning in to the Ops Experts Club podcast. New episodes available every week on Spotify, iTunes, and everywhere you listen to podcasts. If you're curious about how some of the biggest names in entrepreneurship have scaled their businesses to the next level, check out some of our best content on this topic by going to foundationsthatscale.com. You can find the link in our bio and do your part to improve as an ops expert.